Welcome to our first edition of Headliners here in 2013. I'm Charles Rourke. Now, this is a different format for us here at Star News, where we have a panel, and we want to grow on this panel. But tonight we've got two great guests, and I kind of want them to be regulars here on the show, where we can kind of talk about all kind of things that are going on in our great city and region. Tony Jones.
How you doing, Charles? Thank you for having me.
I want you to introduce us to you and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Tony Jones, Anthony Jones, but everybody calls me Tony. Born and raised here in Martinsville, Virginia. My mother's Jewel Jones, great lady. My mother was administrator in the county schools, one of the first female administrators in the county schools. Been coaching and working in my community since I've been in my adult years, just trying to be of service to anybody that I could be of service to.
Now, one of the things we watched you in 2012 get really active in the community,
yes.
Probably more so than ever, right?
Yes, yes.
And one of the things I remember is going to the city council meeting, the Human Rights Board.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I think that was one of the times you took a stand.
Yes.
And along with the Civic Center as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, on the Human Rights Commission, that was actually a mandate from the City Council.
Okay.
We started working on that. Mayor Atkins and Vice Mayor Reynolds came up with the concept of a Human Rights Advisory Board, and they put out a flyer for people to sign up that were interested in participating on this board, and we had a varied range of people on the board. We had some females, males, black, white, and we worked for a year on this board. We went to seminars, we went on tours, and it was concentrating on areas of human rights and discrimination, equity in government, transparency in government, and I was anxious to serve on this board, and we did, even though it didn't pass. But I think we brought some awareness to some issues.
It kind of blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, it kind of went the wrong way, and at the last moment, I think that it kind of turned into almost a issue between black and white and poor and rich, and it wasn't meant to be that way. And I think after working a year, I think emotions on both sides, got a little tense, and I think that we just didn't get to where we wanted to go. But I hope that everybody realizes that it was a good intention. Okay.
Let's get our next. Johnny, everybody knows who you are. I'm going to let you describe yourself in 30 seconds. How would you do that?
Just a person who's trying to make a difference in the community and trying to put the Bible truly into the perspective. I think one of the things that makes me different from a lot of the other religious people, Charles, is sometimes the Bible is used to get ahead rather than really to put the Bible into the mix.
All right, now the Human Rights Board, did you follow any of that last year?
I was sick last year during that time frame. No, I don't think, I don't remember that. The last thing, Tony, that I remember the involvement had to do with the gambling, those different things. I was going to the city council meetings during that time.
Do you think Martinsville and Henry County needs a Human Rights Board?
I really don't know about that. I mean, this is something that's cold to me. Was it really human rights in regard to what? What was the
it was
issue?
Transparency in government.
Okay.
Discrimination. The premises for the discrimination part of it was that if a person felt like they were discriminated against at their job or in any entity, they would come before a committee. And if the committee found that was factual, then they would invite both parties in for a mediation. And then
any other town have anything like this? Any other county?
Yes, I think it's one in Charlottesville, Greensboro. We toured Greensboro and one in Charlottesville.
So who's represented? I mean, when we're talking about human rights, we're talking about the Latino community, or they
everybody. Anybody that felt like they needed help, and it also dealt with transparency in government. But I think the sticking point, Johnny, was that the business community didn't like it. I can somewhat understand it. Was the discrimination part? They felt like that anybody could come at any time and just say, I've been discriminated against.
Charles, were you covering it?
Yeah, we were covering it, and some of the restaurants were getting upset about jewelry.
Yes.
Jewelry. I mean, and so forth, and it just kind of got wild, and the Chamber of Commerce got involved.
Yes.
And Anytime the Chamber of Commerce gets involved in anything in Henry County, it seems to kind of go wobbly crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, but just in defense of the Chamber of Commerce, they, in hindsight, 2020, we should have maybe invited a member of the Chamber of Commerce, a member of their board, to some of the meetings.
But let's get real. Do you think the white community was scared of the black community?
Let's
get real about it.
I'm real. I don't think that the white community is scared of the black community. I think that it's just some misunderstandings on culture. I think it's just culturally misunderstandings.
Right.
I don't think that.
Do you think racism is alive and well here?
In some aspects, but I think it's more. It's racism is misunderstanding more than just true racism. To me, there's a difference between prejudice and racism. Prejudice, we can have prejudice against anything, Johnny. We can, you may like hamburgers, I might like hot dogs. Racism to me is when you have the power and money and you use it to hurt another person. That's racism to me. And, so it'll take a lot for me to accuse somebody of racism.
Right. One of the things I see is tradition goes on. In the white community, going to church might be different than if you're in the black community.
Yes, I agree with that.
A little
change
different.
Is hard. Yeah.
And you're raised with it.
Yes.
And it's comfortable. So it's a lot of times we don't want to get out of our comfort zone.
Right.
Don't you think?
Right. But we need to. If we're going to grow as a community, I think we need to get out of our comfort zone.
So that's a big point for you. We've got to get out of our comfort zone,
yes,
right?
We do.
What do you think about that, Johnny?
I think that as far as like the racism issue that we were discussing a while ago, I think racism still is very much alive, especially in the older culture.
Here, let's talk right here.
That's what I'm talking about, right here.
Give me an example.
In our area. Well, one example to me is the older community. The older community is not accustomed to persons in the black community having all the freedoms. I mean, when you've been 50 years, let's say you're 20 years from segregation, from desegregation.
Right.
And you were used to everybody getting out of your way or whatever if you were white, and all of a sudden everybody has rights that they didn't used to have. If you grew up that way, you grew up being used to having control, and all of a sudden you lose it, there's a resentment. Look at that guy. Who does he think he is? Don't you remember there was a day when I could do this or that? And people don't get over that. I think a whole generation is going to have to die before that kind of racism is gone. Now, as far as my generation, I never knew anything but us being desegregated. I never knew about having control over another person unless you had money or power or something of that nature, but not control as far as black and white. So there still certainly is a lot of that. I think the older generation still is very racist in the sense that they don't appreciate the fact that you have all the freedoms and the rights that they used to enjoy by themselves.
Now, I think a hot button issue for me is I've been covering news here for 20 years.
Yes.
And I don't see black leaders speaking out enough.
I agree with that, and I think it's some that, like Johnny was saying, they're in a certain tradition, a certain mode. Some of the older black leaders, and they don't speak out enough. And some of it is, maybe fear of what may happen if they do speak out.
Now, Johnny, I know this is one you can relate to. Keep my mouth shut, and I keep getting the money coming in, right?
That's true. Well, and that it doesn't necessarily have to do with religion necessarily either. It can just be, okay, you've gained some ground.
Right.
If I stand up and become an activist and I speak out against individuals, all of a sudden a lot of that ground can be taken away from me, or the threat of it be taken away from you. I know an instance not too long ago where we had a gentleman named Gino Jennings. Came into the area, and one of the young men was associated with Gino, and he made some statements about some other individuals in the community. I'm talking about bold statements. I had them on tape, and he ended up, as a result of pressure that was put on him, he ended up reneging on it. He said he didn't say it. And I would have never believed, as bold as persons were associated with Gino Jennings, that he would back up. But I was surprised. Some older individuals put pressure on him, and he basically retracted everything he said. I had it on tape.
Right.
And so I saw what it was. It was peer pressure.
I think we need to start telling each other the truth, whether it hurts or if it makes us a little uncomfortable.
Let's talk about the truth. What do you think we need to improve on? What's something that really aggravates you about this town?
I think that once we get to a hot issue or a hot topic,
like the Human Rights Board,
right? We get mad at each other instead of going in a room and talking. Okay. Kimber Reynolds made a good point. That, what would it hurt and how much would it cost just to sit down in a room and talk? And I think that sometimes separates us. And I'm not just talking about black and white. I'm talking about black and Latino. Even in the black community, we have different segments in the black community that don't congregate or talk to each other because of, just like Johnny was saying, tradition. Older versus young. The younger generation don't understand the older generation. The older generation don't want to deal with the younger generation. Fear sometimes.
I want you to preach to me as a white person. What do I need to do as a white person to be a better citizen in this community?
Well, I can't tell you how to be a white person because I'm not white, y'all.
But really, in the black world.
But I can tell you how to be my brother. I can tell you how to be my friend.
Yeah.
And when
do you think we black-white it too much?
Yeah, I think we do. When I look at you, I see Charles. When I look at Johnny, I see Johnny. And any of my friends, I have a lot. And sometimes we get what we do when we go up to city council or go to a meeting, or sometimes our intentions are misconstrued, just taken out of context, and it's turned into a black and white issue when it's not. It's a human issue.
Right.
And that's the way that we have to look at it. I mean, we have poor people that are white, black, Latino, every race, creed, and color. So I think we have got to get past the race issue and get to the real issues, which is humanism.
All right, go ahead, John.
Oh, I think in some of this, though, you have a lot of baggage, like we were talking about from the white side. You have the baggage of, older generation used to be in control. On the black side, there's a lot of baggage in the sense that people have a lot of history that they still remember. Yeah. I was at a city council member, and we had to take.
But isn't it fair if you're black, if you were a slave, don't you think you have a right to be a little pissed off? Nobody that we know was a slave. Right. That's the thing. Nobody we know ever was a slave. But at the same time, I think that we definitely would know a time frame where, let's say, for instance, if I hired you, Tony, and I didn't want to pay you at the end of the day, nobody could make me.
Right.
You remember?
Right.
I mean, that time is not too far behind us. So you got a lot of that in the black community that they still remember the injustices. And I was going to say, we were at a city council meeting. We had the tapes rolling. And two very prominent individuals, everybody would know them if I called their name. We have both of them on camera saying, F those white people.
Oh, really?
And I'm talking about the tapes were rolling, and we were, they were on the outside.
What issue were we talking about?
At that time, we were up there, we were talking about the gambling.
Yeah.
And
somebody said F the white people.
Two individuals were out talking, and my son Caleb.
Does that upset you, Don?
No. I mean, I knew that coming in.
Yeah, it does upset me because, you shouldn't, I don't F anybody, as I want everybody. My issue with the gambling pause, and Johnny came at it from a different perspective. That's the only disagreement I think we ever had, and I'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
I felt like that as an American, if they're gonna have the gambling parlors.
What we're talking about is the sweepstakes gambling.
The sweepstakes
gambling to the African American community.
Right. I just felt like that if you're gonna have them, and if Americans want to spend their money, they have a right to spend it where they choose to.
Yeah.
But I felt like having 6 parlors in one section of town was just terrible, and 3 of them were in eyesight of each other. And I just felt like that was wrong, and I feel like that section of town, which is the west side, has been used. I mean, just the infrastructure, and I don't think it has to do with racism so much. It just happened to people that live in that area are black, but we have white people that live in the west side now. We have Indians, we have Asians, but when you bring all those parlors in one area, it just sends a bad signal. And we've had several things like that. I grew up with a landfill in my backyard. Yeah. All while I was growing up, and we had a trucking station right in the middle of. And
the station that brought that story to the public, it was this one.
Yes.
Right.
So that's my point on that.
All right, let me show you the hot topic going on, and this, I'm gonna get our cameraman to get a tight shot. This was in Wednesday's January 2nd, Martinsville Bulletin, and they beat everybody on getting the New Year's baby. That's in the media, you always want to get the New Year's baby.
Right.
But we'll see if I can get my producer just to freeze that. Okay. Okay. Now, not get all of the names, but at the bottom of it, it says that this baby here has 9 brothers and sisters. Okay. And the mother is 33. Now, and one of the things I don't know is whose mother, and I'd love to know just for curiosity. Did this woman have 9 babies? Because that's a lot of babies. She's been busy.
Right.
Yeah. But a lot of people say, how in the world can somebody in today's times have 9 babies? Johnny?
Well, you know, when we come down to it, the question that you were asking a while ago, Charles, was, you know, what is the basis for all this, or the why does all this start? I believe that it is a biblical point. People are in fights and arguments over what we do and don't have, and people will use any means they can, black, white, Latino, whatever, in order to get ahead. Some individuals have realized, I spoke to somebody just before I came down, she verified she had 2 children in her family that were taken in, and they were getting $400 a piece in food stamps. And
This is happening in all aspects of community, and it's almost like we don't have any jobs. If we're going to continue, we have babies, and the government will pay for it.
Right, right.
Now, Tony, how do you feel about that?
Well, you know, the only thing is for her to have 9 children. Of course, she can't take care of 9 children. We don't know what the fathers are.
Yeah.
But as far as the young lady concerned, we don't, we have to look back at her life, as a child. We don't know if she's been abused or if she, what happened to make her have 9 children. She may just, want to have those children, but is it fair for the taxpayers to pay for her?
How do you feel about it?
Once it happens, what are you going to do? We can't let those babies starve.
Yeah.
No matter if the mother is wrong, Johnny, or the father is wrong, can we let those children starve?
Well, what I would rather do is address the problem than start with the emotional, because a lot of times we talk about marriage and divorce, and that's what we start with. We start with the emotional end.
But Johnny, get ready. This is the new way to make a living in Henry County.
Yeah, no, I'm totally against it. I say that if the churches, if the community would go backwards to the mentality where we used to have when somebody was involved in premarital sex or shacking up, whatever different term we used to call it. Now it's common law marriage. Used to it was shacking up or whatever. If the community would go back to shaming that and looking down on it, then we would remedy our problem.
But get real. Do you think it's going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. From my own experience, I get the majority of the hate from even saying that we should even think about that. That we should think about reforming our moral mentality. I don't think we're going back, no. The only thing I think is going to happen, Charles, to get us back is if we have a depression again, something like the Great Depression.
Have we been close? Come on.
I don't know. When I'm looking at I suppose, but you see the difference between a food stamp card and the food line?
Right.
I'm talking about the food lines in the 1930s. People were out of work and they stretched for yards and yards and yards, people going to a soup kitchen. Well, you could see that, but today, with the food stamps card, you don't even know that there is a problem, really.
Right.
You see what I'm saying, Charles?
Yeah,
the pictures of the food line?
Gotcha.
Today, we're in worse shape.
Here's the hot thing on this one is I think these couples can get get the $400 and do what they want to with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I know people are trading.
And it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's definitely a problem, but, how do we solve that problem unless we come together and talk about it? How do we solve that problem unless we get to the root of the problem? And that's going to take everybody, the government, the community, the agencies, to come in and find out, why. Until we dig down, and John, I've heard you say this many times, you gotta get a little dirty. You gotta get out there and get a little dirty.
Well, we're going to have to break a taboo here, and that is judge. People don't like to judge anybody, but let's say, for instance, a person that knows someone at a supermarket and they see them trading money for goods. In other words, I'm on food stamps. I go in, I buy the groceries. You give me the money. I give you the groceries, and what we did is we just traded. I got some money for groceries that I got through food stamps, and now I can go out and do whatever I want to with the money. Right. Now, when people see that, they should turn each other in. They should turn someone in. Nobody from the pulpit down, everybody's being told why you shouldn't tell on anybody. I believe that we should. We should have persons who are
better policing of this.
We should have basically responsibility is what it amounts to. If somebody is a checker and they see it happen right out in the parking lot, they ought to call right then.
All right, we're going to take a commercial. I want to see what the community has to say about entitlements and so forth, and what we can do. But I think Tony's on something that we got to talk about. We can't just let it go on. Right. What do we expect as taxpayers if we just let it go on? Why don't we speak to our representatives and find better ways to do it? One thing I have learned is that people come in numbers in this town. Yes. And I'm talking about 50, 100 people come to any kind of meeting, things get done, don't they, Tony?
Yes, they do.
All right. So let's take a quick break. You're watching Headliners, and you're watching Star News.
It's a new lifetime protection plan here at Nelson Toyota Science we're going to guarantee your engine and transmission for a lifetime.
Nelson Toyota in Martinsville and Henry County, the home of the Lifetime Protection Plan. Nathan Hines of Hines Funeral Service talking about pre-arrangements.
The advantage of pre-arrangement today is you lock in at today's rates. Average funeral rate now is going up at an alarming rate.
Why deal with it tomorrow when you can deal with it today?
It's very beneficial for a family because at the time of death you're dealing with emotion. Yeah. Okay, if it's pre-arranged, a family don't have to come in. Casket selection, vault selection, the services that they wanted, the clothes that they wanted, everything has been selected and paid for.
Call Nathan Hines of Hines Funeral Service and let him show you the way.
That we're still large enough to serve you, yet small enough to care.
Don't pay $199.
Don't pay $99.
At Carpetland USA, pay nothing for carpet installation.
Zero, zip, zilch. Now the labor is free.
That's right. Free pre-measure and estimate, free delivery, free lifetime installation warranty, and free labor on any Stainmaster carpet. Plus, save up to 15% on hardwood, laminate, tile, and vinyl floors, all with no interest for 1 year.
With free labor, you can get the best and spend less.
At Carpetland USA.
We here at the Salvation Army invite you to give back to your community.
The Salvation Army Thrift Store, located at 2620 Virginia Avenue in Collinsville, next to Collinsville Bistro and right across from Steve's Easy Inn, has the best price on great clothes, household items, and furniture, with new items arriving daily. Receive a 20% discount on Senior Citizen Wednesday and different items on sale daily. The Salvation Army gladly accepts gently used items for the thrift store. To arrange pickup, just call 647-3450. Donations are tax deductible. Help your community by giving.
At Wireless Connections in the Patrick Henry Mall, you can get unlimited talk and text, no contract phone plan starting at $29 a month with global plan options and unlimited talk, text, and data for as low as $40 a month. At Wireless Connections, you can buy the latest smartphones or flash your iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, or smartphone to a no contract plan. For the latest smartphones, phone accessories, and for the lowest prices on no contract phone plans, stop by Wireless Connection at the Patrick Henry Mall today or call 276-880-6648.
I'm Sean, and this is Affordable Computer Repair. Our goal here at Affordable Computer Repair is to provide quick and affordable PC repair. Don't waste money at a retail store buying software and features that you will never use. Let us build you a custom PC for your specific needs. We don't charge anything to check out your PC for repair or upgrade quotes. When you deal with us, you call my personal phone, not someone hundreds of miles away. So come on down to Affordable Computer Repair, conveniently located in Collinsville beside Kings Mountain Animal Clinic, and get the computer that you need.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Stan, and I would like for you to tune in to WMDV TV 44.1, Comcast 18, and Chat Moss Cable 14 every Thursday night at 9 p.m. for the Hour of Power. The Hour of Power will encourage and edify you to live a successful life in every way as you learn how to overcome failure, sickness, disease, and even poverty. We will be live and the phone lines will be open, so I hope you will tune in every Thursday at 9 p.m. to get powered up to live a successful life.
We're back with the headline of the show. Tony Jones and Johnny Robertson joining us here live tonight. We're going to put the phone numbers up on the screen. And Johnny, you come with your clips. You want to keep everybody honest. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah. You know, from time to time, we do have to remind ourselves, you know, that possibly we have issues that can be unresolved. Sometimes we have to resolve them. Tony and I were discussing as we went off the fact that we had crossed up on one occasion, and We're basically trying to clear the air
Show
there.
me the clip here. You want to show me?
I really don't know how long the clip is, but I'll let some of it play. Do we have audio? Okay, I have audio running out. This is a build-up to it, Charles, was the city council, and we were talking about the sweepstakes event,
Right.
and Tony was on the same
Is that
side.
Tony right there?
No, that's actually city attorney.
Okay.
We're in his office.
So what happened?
In a nutshell, come to find out now, Tony and I are on the same side as far as the issues were concerned, but I was in an attack mode against J.C. Richardson. And, you know, basically nobody I think, doesn't know that I don't trust J.C. Richardson. And
attack mode, now that sounds like you're ready to kill.
I know, I'm attack mode in the sense of I'm going to, you know, he's not really, I didn't think that he was participating in the capacity that he should have as a person who is representing West End. And, you know, this stuff with the sweepstakes went right under the radar with those guys.
Yeah.
And so I was saying, you know, here's the guys who are responsible for it. And I don't know if Tony really knew our history or not, you know, the history between myself and J.C. Richardson. And so.
Well, what happened?
Well, you know, on a supposed debate, Charles, that we had, J.C. Richardson had me sign a contract, and then he broke the contract himself, you know, and never let me say a word. And so at that point, I determined that he was not a trustworthy person to me. And so then I found out that he wasn't putting the brakes on these individuals in the sweepstakes. And so I basically started pointing the finger. And at that point, Tony maybe perceived that it was a black-white issue with me when, you know, I was in there with Chad Martin, who had invited me. So
Tony, did you call him a racist?
I think I did, and I apologize to him just now for it.
I mean, that's pretty strong, Tony.
Because you know, sometimes your feelings, you know, on hot button issues like that, and I felt like that this issue was so hot, and I felt like that the emphasis was taken off of J.C. Richardson. I mean, off the sweepstakes, and putting on Reverend Richardson.
Yeah.
And I think I asked Johnny, was he trying to get at Reverend Richardson, ammunition against Reverend Richardson?
So you thought Johnny
instead of
was there,
concentrating,
he had another mission rather than
right? I thought he had another agenda. But
and you might have been on something.
But I think he had maybe a little second agenda. But I think he still was focusing in on the sweepstakes, which he proved when he went in and talked to.
And you know, this goes back to the
city
leadership too, Tony. When we're talking about the religious leadership, my position is that the religious folk that have the opportunity to change things are many times involved in filling up their own bucket. You know, making themselves a good nest and whatever, and they don't really hit these issues because it could possibly cause them some, you know, distraction from what they're doing.
You think it's true, Tony?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I really believe this, Charles. Until our leaders, our preachers, and from all sectors, come out in the streets together and show a sign of solidarity. I mean, amongst all of y'all, Johnny, all the ministers, that we're going to have problems because the flock is going to follow the ministers, and they have to come out and lead us. And I've said that in several interviews. I've put that on my Facebook page, that our preachers have to come out.
Well, here's the problem that the preachers are having, I think, and that is the flock is getting smaller because the flock is seeing that the preachers are really not doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, when if you really get down to, you start talking to people on the streets, and I do talk to people on the streets. Just say, for instance, right on Fayette Street, I had 2 tent meetings there, and I was up on the corner, and one of the gentlemen came around, and he said, Johnny, he said, we give the preachers fits up here. He said, when they go by, we say, Johnny Robertson is going to get you for a double dipping. In other words, they realize that many of the preachers are taking advantage of their position and making lots of money, and they're saying that God is blessing them. That's how they're getting the money. And a lot of people are catching on to this, and as a result, the pulpit does not have near as much influence as it used to. And you know what, Tony, I think a lot of the preachers have let that influence go as a result of the opportunity to get money. They have let the influence go, and if they were to call out the people and say, let's stop, all the people would say, who is that? You know, who are you to tell us what we need to do when we all know what you're doing? You got guys that have 2 and 3 living wives, you know, and
preachers.
Man, I could tell you, Charles, people that. And
you have
that's
a hotline, don't you?
Do I have a hotline? Yes, I do. You know, and it is not a colored line either. It's black and white. People call them.
How many preachers in this town have more than one wife, one woman?
More than one woman. I couldn't say. You know, you call like counting up all the preachers. I mean, we have a Yellow Pages full of churches. I have no idea. You know how many.
But you get calls from time to time.
Yes,
preachers.
yeah, and I think that possibly Tony would know some preachers that the community knew. I'll just call one, for instance, Moral Hill. People at Moral Hill, now Mr. Eccles is not involved in this, but previously, before he was a preacher there, the police had to be called, the county police had to be called in because women were actually having a fight on the premises about their relationship with the pastor.
Oh, really?
And so now there's another Baptist church, it's a white Baptist church over here on Kohler, and individuals are constantly calling me, trying to get me involved in the fact that this gentleman left his wife, took up with another individual in the church, nothing said. Up in Danville, same way. The west side, what was the church that where the barbers are? I can't think of it. It's got the academy down there. What happens is we will have studies with individuals, and then they'll begin to tell us the history. And the thing that happens, Tony, is nobody will say anything inside of the churches.
Can I ask you why you think that is, Johnny? I mean, it seems like it would be somebody in the church or some group of people in the church that would say, you know, Minister, this is going on, or ask a question, or...
I can tell you, here's why. The power of the minister, he's the one that brings you into the world. In other words, when people have babies, a lot of times the preacher's involved. Sometimes he's helping with ceremonies that are associated with, especially the community that has the children being baptized. He puts you in the ground. He marries you. You know, he's the one who marries you. All of these things happen, and all of a sudden, just like, for instance, on High Street, St. Paul's High Street, is that what it is?
Yes, church I grew up in.
Okay, now the pastor there had a particular preacher that he would not marry in that church. And I don't blame him now on that one. I was with him. But that just proves my point. I can't think of the gentleman who used to be associate minister there. He went over and he was married in Jackie Poe's old church. And see what I'm saying?
This sounds like church gossip.
Yeah, well, no, that's true. He's telling the truth. Yeah. Reverend, no, he's talking about Reverend Shackelford.
Yes, sir.
And you had to go in, my wife and I were married at High Street, and you had to go in for counseling. And if you had a previous marriage, he would not marry you in High Street Baptist Church.
So see what we're saying here. Now, that's a good thing. I'm not opposing that. That's a good thing. But what the question was, Charles, how do they have so much power? And it is because the pastor is involved in so many aspects of your life. If you mess up with him, it hurts you, you know, culturally. Different things that you might want the pastor to do, he won't do, and it hurts you. And as a result of that, you think twice about crossing the pastor.
All right, let's go to the public. Let's go to the public and see what they think about what we're saying tonight. Good evening. You're on the air.
Well, good evening, Charles.
All right, we got all the hot topic. What do you want to talk about tonight? And keep on subject if you can.
Okay, what are y'all talking about, really? I mean, certain things.
And then come on, you got to watch the show.
Charles, that just popped up.
Okay. We're talking about pastors. We're talking about entitlements. You know, folks having babies and ringing up the cash register. I mean, we know people that are having 10 babies.
Oh, Lord, most likely. Those are normal subjects. Most likely the subject I like to keep up with is dating 2 women.
Okay, dating 2 women. Obviously, Johnny, what do you think about this?
Is this the guy that had 150 encounters in 1 year?
Yeah.
What I think about him is, what I think about him. Romans 2 comes to mind, Romans 1 comes to mind, where individuals end up getting their just desserts. And a lot of times when you have that many encounters, you end up with a sexually transmitted disease, and I just wonder, you know, how long he can keep it up without
Johnny's worried about you. He says you're going to get too many sexual transmitted diseases.
Well, I use a condom, Charles. I'm not. I enjoy sex, but I don't go overboard. I'm very, very, very educated in, you know, what's going on out here.
Could I ask you a question, sir? And and how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
How comfortable do you feel about talking about that kind of subject at prime time where maybe children are listening to this program?
Well, I hope they're not listening, but it does. Other words, is a subject I like. I enjoy dating 2 women. I've always did it, and it's most likely I'll continue doing it until I pass away.
He feels like it should be an open thing. What do you think, Johnny?
I think that he has some preachers that agree with him. You've got Gallimore, who sets the stage for that kind of thing, so it's no wonder that our community basically has this mentality. But I would say to that gentleman, does he not realize what he's doing as far as grooming the younger crowd? Because if the younger crowd hears that some old guy, he sounds as old as me, some old guys over here talking like that, it's going to be nothing for a younger person to say, well, if he's involved with 2, I'm young and whatever, I'll go for 3 or 4. And you set a standard, or you destroy a moral standard that really was there. So we're not getting much help from many of the religious figures, I'll say.
Yeah.
And then you've got gentlemen like that who is the product of it, and then young people hear that and they
one
say,
of the things, people say, why don't I allow a call like that? Because I especially with my Buzz show, because the one thing I think is interesting with the Buzz show, it's kind of like a little feeler out there what people are talking about.
This is our community. I believe that guy is a representative of our community.
yes.
You know?
I mean, sex is a big thing, man.
Yes.
I mean,
But it has its place and it has its, its form. And I don't think, at 7 o'clock in the evening it's time to be talking about it. I know I'm married to my beautiful wife, Jackie Jones. I've been with her since I've been in high school. And I think if I ever cheated on her, I'd have to sleep with one eye open and one closed, And my mother raised us better than that. It's just that now if you're single and you date more than one person and they know about it, then that's something different. But the sex thing is just.
Johnny, have you ever been tempted by a woman?
In the sense of what?
I mean, is she like a woman flirting with you?
I'm human in the sense of, do I have to watch out for women? Sure. I mean, we can take the most, I would say the most praised figure in the Bible would be, one of them would be David, a man after God's own heart. And what happened to him, Charles? I don't know if you know well enough. He was caught off guard by a woman, and the Bible titles him as a man after God's own heart. He ended up killing the woman's husband. And so, for me to say that I'm better off than David, a greater person than David, I'd never say that. But I've been able to restrain myself, Charles, and that's, to me, that's the key. It's not what you think necessarily, it's what you end up doing. And so I haven't followed through with any kind of temptation like that. Right. That really ends up being what is the answer at the end of the day. What did you do with the thought? Did you cancel it out and try not to do it? And every time you cancel it out, I believe you become stronger, just like when you exercise yourself in any way, you become stronger against the next time.
You're human, man. I mean, that's one of the things I always wonder about preachers, because, I mean, you guys are, you're male, and you have all these women in the church, and
well,
so
it is like anything else, Charles. If you continue to tell yourself no, after a while, you don't respond to that anymore. I mean, you think about choking one of these guys around here. You keep telling yourself, no, I can't choke one of these guys when I get mad at them because it'll destroy my rapport with all of them. So after a while, you just don't even think about choking one of them that makes you mad. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same thing with sex or trying the big car syndrome, the big house. I just tell myself no. After a while, that particular enticement doesn't work anymore.
Well, I got a big TV.
Okay. Yeah,
I asked you a question. I always wanted, Johnny, I wanted to ask you on that. How do you feel? Do you feel that a minister who pastors a church, does he deserve a decent salary? If he has or like another job also, if he lives in a nice house and has a nice car, but he's not getting the majority of his money from his flock, is there anything wrong with that?
Well, no. If a person is getting, if he makes his own living, that's his business. But once he starts taxing, and that's what I basically look at it as, he starts taxing the congregation to fulfill the lust that he has for excess, then that certainly is not a biblical principle. And I really see that going on a lot.
Okay.
And one of the excuses that I hear here in Martinsville, and it's not just in Martinsville, some of the preachers have flat out told me that rock stars have big cars and big houses, and I'm like, what does that have to do with you?
Right.
You're not a rock star. Why are you comparing yourself to a rock star rather than, why didn't you say, how did Jesus tell people to live? So what a person has, if they're making their own money, to me, that's their business. But once they become an example of the believer, if I'm going to ride you, Tony, so that I can have excess, I just don't see how that's a biblical principle.
So let's break it down. Should a preacher have, what kind of house should he have? 80,000, 120,000? Where's?
Well, it depends on, if you're looking at what the people around you are having, that's how you would be able to determine what your excess is. In the Bible, in Matthew 23, Jesus opposes excess. He was using the scribes and Pharisees. They were living an excessive life.
So you're saying if the majority of the members had $300,000 houses, it's okay?
I would say that at that point, those persons can afford to give back. And at that point, it's not like he is living in excess of them. But at the same time, Charles, let me make sure that I say all of us have to think for a moment. We have $14 trillion in debt in the United States. Our budget is about, $2 trillion, and the rest of the world is living on crumbs. Just because we came into this world like that in the United States, does that mean that we're supposed to live like that? Is that how God intended for us to live? I don't think so. So to qualify my answer about the $300,000, the question would be, first, should we actually all be living like that anyway? Shouldn't we be trying to figure out a way to live in such a way that we can share some of this with the rest of the world? And so that's how I try to make my decision about how I'm going to live.
All right, let's take a quick commercial break. You're watching Headliners. We want to take your live calls. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Here at Nelson, we're here to serve you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rain, snow, or shine, when the other guys are sitting at home.
Nelson Collision is the area's premier provider of collision repair services. As the only authorized repair facility for General Motors, Ford, Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Kia, and Subaru vehicles.
You can depend on us to get your vehicle back better than it was before the accident.
Nelson Collision is the only full-service facility. So from towing your vehicle from the accident, to getting your rental car, to working with the insurance company to get back on the road fast, no one else offers the convenience of doing it all in one place.
We guarantee our workmanship as long as you own your car, no matter the insurance company.
So if you need your car repaired, towing or roadside assistance anytime, day or night, or rental car, truck, or van, one call does it all at Nelson Collision in Martinsville.
Get ready, Martinsville, Henry County. You can get your car painted only for $2.99. Here at Finish Line Automotive Collision, if you're in a crash, wreck, we try to work with your insurance to save your deductible. Race on in the finish line and get your car painted and get out of here quick as you can. In finish line, we can get the car done, most jobs done in a week. If you're in a wreck, you need your car painted, I always remember Finish Line Automotive Collision, 1107 South Memorial Boulevard, 276-632-2455.
Don't pay $199.
Don't pay $99.
At Carpetland USA, pay nothing for carpet installation.
Zero, zip, zilch. Now the labor is free.
That's right. Free pre-measure and estimate, free delivery, free lifetime installation warranty, and free labor on any Stainmaster carpet. Plus, save up to 15% on hardwood, laminate, tile, and vinyl floors, all with no interest for 1 year.
With free labor, you can get the best and spend less.
At Carpetland USA.
Community Funeral Service knows Martinsville, Henry County, and Rockingham County needs for sensibly priced funerals.
That's right. Community Funeral Services did not wait until the economy failed before we became Martinsville and Henry County and the surrounding areas affordable funeral provider. We're providing services, a quality Batesville casket, complete funeral services, and a quality protective vault at $45.95.
While being sensibly priced, Community Funeral Service still provides unmatched benefits and services. Kelly G. Radcliffe, Manager. Big news from Mixed Bag at Patrick Henry Mall.
I want everybody in Martinsville and Henry County to know that Big Fabric is now in the Mixed Bag building right down the street. We've merged with them. We brought everything in. We brought our fabric in. And now that it's Mixed Bag, it's just what it says, a mixture of everything. If you hadn't been to Mixed Bag in the last couple of months, you've been missing something.
Big Fabric now in Mixed Bag. Patrick Henry Mall, Martinsville.
Hi, I'm Debbie Washburn here at Debbie's Flooring. Please come and shop with me so I can get all your flooring needs done.
Let Debbie Washburn show you the 3 steps of getting your flooring done. Debbie's had over 25 years of experience, and her installers have over 30 years of experience. Call for a free estimate now. Debbie's Flooring, call her at 732-2752 or office at 647-7705. And Debbie will come to you and let her do all of the work for you. Debbie's Flooring, located across the street from Southern States at the end of Kaufman Drive in Collinsville. Hey, we're back here, and during the commercial break, Tony started having a conversation with Johnny. I said, shut up. Wait till we get back on TV. Ask him that same question when we're back here on TV.
I was just wondering, John, you know, and we know you're a straight shooter, but I was wondering, do you think that you could reach more people and more people would come to you and speak with you if you had a softer line? You know, as the old saying, can you reach more bees with honey?
Well, a lot of people have asked me that through the years, and I probably have gotten off my game just a little bit on this in the explanation, but my final explanation to the community is I'm not trying to get people to come where I am.
Right.
I'm trying to reach them in the sense of giving them information that they'll use where they are. And you know, Tony, I think I'm getting all the response I want in that regard, because I know people are saying what we're saying because they know we're teaching what the Bible says.
Right.
So the fact that they don't fill up 823 Starling Avenue, that's not bothering me, because I'm not trying to get the big cars and any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So if I know that I'm influencing people with the
But
truth.
I think what Tony's saying is, like when you say I'm in attack mode,
Yeah.
that's shocking to hear a minister say that.
Well, I mean, as far as Jesus was concerned, I mean, they killed Jesus for attacking the, I'm going to use the word, biblically criminal element of his day. In other words, the people who were breaking the law, biblically speaking, did Jesus get on, was he in attack mode? I mean, Jesus was constantly presenting the error, and even when some of his disciples came to him in Matthew 15 and said, don't you know they're offended? He wasn't worried about that. He wasn't worried about the fact that they were offended. He was more worried about the fact that these same individuals were putting a heavy burden on the regular class people. That's what, and to me, that's who's responding to me.
Now, Larry Serber, the atheist I interviewed last week, he said that he's upset with you. Well, not upset with you, but he thinks it's disappointing that you haven't talked to your mother in how long?
Yes, at that particular time, probably when he was quoting me, maybe 17 years. But see, that was a choice. That's her choice. You know, that's a choice that my mother made as a result of like her response to the way I teach and the way I go ahead and live, you know, what I say. And so, I mean, you yourself know, Charles, that sometimes when you have a principle, like for instance, you were going to take me to Applebee's one day, and I wouldn't go because I'm not going to go where a bar is.
I know, but it's your mother, man.
I'm just saying, well, I mean, Jesus basically said, when they said, almost just like what you just said, they said, your mother and your brethren are outside. You know what Jesus said? Jesus said, here's my mother and brethren, the ones who do the will of my Father. That's my mother and my brethren.
That's kind of what worries me about religion. I mean, we got just because of different points of view.
But here's the other side of that, the old saying that blood is thicker than water, which means that I'm going to practice nepotism and I'm going to be that kind of person, Charles.
Can't you just disagree with her and say, look, let's...
Oh, I can. I just said, though, the choice is hers.
Right.
You know, the choice is hers. Here's what happened. You know, she know I'm a preacher. She raised me the way that I am. She marries somebody who is of different faith. And then she wants me to pretend that it's not the case. And you know, when I come in, he's going to, as the head of their house, he's going to try to dictate certain things that I don't believe. Well, Charles, I can't give in to
Well, let me
that.
ask you, if I went with you, would you go meet her on camera?
Oh, I've seen her last year.
You did?
Yeah, so I said in the
talked to her?
context of when, I met her husband died.
Okay.
And so last year, I met with her this time last year, as a matter of fact. Okay. So whenever Larry was talking about that was, you know, previous to the time that I'd seen her. Okay. But like I say, that was her choice.
Well, Johnny, I'll be praying that y'all mend your relationship with
well,
your mother.
You know, I don't have a problem now. You know, like I say, her Baptist husband.
Is she good now that her husband's gone?
Well, now that he's gone, she's not under his control and asking me to compromise my position for her relationship, which I'm not going to do that for anybody.
Right.
So, you know, that's, and if I did, Charles, wouldn't that make me a politician? I mean, you basically compromise your position.
It's your mother, Johnny.
Hey, my mother, really, biblically speaking, my mother is no different than any other person that I'm supposed to be concerned about. Biblically speaking, that's Jesus speaking. My mother and my brethren are the ones who do the will of my Father. So I've got plenty of other people that treat me like a son and treat me like a brother, or, you know, them my sister. So I hated it for her, but I wasn't going to change, you know, because she married somebody that...
What do you think, Tony? I mean, you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I definitely see where you come from. And I just think that, again, conversation, stepping outside your comfort zone, it's going to get that solved.
I mean, Johnny's going to be where Johnny is.
Yeah, I understand that, but I know Johnny loves his mother. Sure. I know he loves his mother. And sooner or later, somebody's going to have to give. And it's, you know... And
he ain't going to give.
I think, you know, sometimes we underestimate Johnny's compassion and heart. I mean, I've seen the compassionate side, you know. So I don't think that he has.
Well, see,
I think he has to give.
We're not gaining anything by me compromising a position that is right. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying very hard to do what is right. And, I think my mother would be the first to tell people that she does appreciate, the life that I'm living versus what I used to be.
Right.
I can remember her coming to the jailhouse and crying over what I was.
Right.
And so we weren't having a relationship then either. But, now I'm doing what's right. I believe she appreciates it. She made the decision to marry somebody of a different faith who was trying to make me compromise. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do that in front of my children either, Charles. I couldn't compromise in front of my children and, be honest to them. So at the end of the day, somebody has to try, basically has to say, okay, here's the line, we're going to try to stay on it.
And I appreciate that, Charles. I'm sorry. I just want to make one point.
Okay.
Back on, and I don't want to get off the topic too much, but back on the racism issue that we were talking about. When you held up I don't know if we get that shot back up. You held up the picture of the girl with the 9 babies.
Right.
To the side, and we can get that up. If you see Sandy Hook, right there.
Right.
It says something about students, teachers returning to school.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question to the public. Sandy Hook, 9/11, Katrina, during those times, when you first heard that on the news, did you think if these people were black, white, Asian, was it even a concern?
The students or the
No,
killer?
in each one of those, even in Aurora, Colorado, each one of those terrible, devastating actions. We didn't concern when something devastating happens to Americans. We come together. It's kind of like family. We come together. We're not concerned about
9/11
if we're not concerned about if somebody's black, white, Johnny. We come together and we do what's right to help those people. So why is it that we only do that when it's a devastation or something bad occurs? So we got to come to the point where we do that every day. Because I don't think anybody thought about when those babies were gunned down in that school. Did color ever cross your mind?
You make a very good point. I mean, that's the time we only seem to come together, Congress and all. I mean, it seems like we want to fuss and be on different polarized ends until something tragic happens. That's a really good point. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Donald Epperson.
Okay. What's your question?
Johnny.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. What's your question for Johnny?
I just want everybody to know that Johnny is really compassionate, and he saved me one Sunday. He drove all the way from Martinsville, Alta Vista, to baptize me and got saved. And I just want everybody to know that Johnny saved me that night. And I mean, he never asked for nothing. And I just want everybody to know that I've been looking all my life, for the Word of God, the Word, and the Gospel. And I started watching his show, and I finally found the real truth in the Gospel.
All right. Appreciate your call. We need to take one more commercial break, and we will be right back.
We like it or not, and we've got up to $100 rebates on select Falcon tires. At Lee's Tire and Wheel, we care so much about your car. We do a thorough suspension check on your car to make sure that everything is tight in your suspension before the alignment is performed. Old Man Winter's coming, and we've got what you need at Lee's Tire and Wheel. Come on over and see us at 302 East Church Street, or give us a call at 276-638-3240. And remember, visit us online at sigwheels.com. Get it at Lee's. Get it at Lee's, guys.
Get it at Lee's.
Get it at Lee's.
Get it
Here at Nelson, we're here to serve you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rain, snow, or shine, when the other guys are sitting at home.
Nelson Collision is the area's premier provider of collision repair services. As the only authorized repair facility for General Motors, Ford, Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Kia, and Subaru vehicles.
You can depend on us to get your vehicle back better than it was before the accident.
Nelson Collision is the only full-service facility. So from towing your vehicle from the accident, to getting your rental car, to working with the insurance company to get back on the road fast, No one else offers the convenience of doing it all in one place.
We guarantee our workmanship as long as you own your car, no matter the insurance company.
So if you need your car repaired, towing or roadside assistance anytime, day or night, or rental car, truck, or van, one call does it all at Nelson Collision in Martinsville. Three generations of the Stanfield family have been professionally serving the Martinsville and Henry County area since 1986. Stanfield Miller Funeral Home offers pre-arrangements, cremation services, and international funeral service, along with affordable, complete funeral service packages. Stanfield Miller Funeral Home, their family serving their community for over 3 generations. And what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a funeral director.
Stanfield Miller Funeral Home, 403 West Market Street.
Sissy's Flea Market in Oak Level is Collector's Paradise. Offering 2 floors of choice collectibles, Sissy has decorative kitchen sets, NASCAR memorabilia, Indian heritage pieces, bears, angels, dolphins, dream catchers, lighthouses, and so much more. Multiple booths mean big selection and big savings. You've been looking for it, and they have it at Little Bit of Everything. Old Reb's Collector Knives will cut you a deal. Big or small, they have it all at Sissy's. Open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Call 627-0482, located at 10963 Virginia Avenue in Bassett.
At Wireless Connections in the Patrick Henry Mall, you can get unlimited talk and text, no contract phone plan starting at $29 a month with global plan options and unlimited talk, text, and data for as low as $40 a month. At Wireless Connections, you can buy the latest smartphones or flash your iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, or smartphone to a no contract plan. For the latest smartphones, phone accessories, and for the lowest prices on no contract phone plans, stop by Wireless Connection at the Patrick Henry Mall today or call 276-880-6648.
Nolan & Stone has your size. They have chairs that will fit just about anybody. They've been a Lazy Boy dealer for over 40 years, so they know their product. And don't forget, Lazy Boy, quite possibly the last chair that you'll ever have to buy. Plus, at Nolan & Stone, they have a selection of sectionals, tables, kitchen tables, and bedroom sets. Nolan & Stone, located at 6769 Ferrystone Park Highway in Bassett. Call them at 276-629-2312. They've been serving the community for over 50 years. You need to check them out on Facebook. Your children are coming home for the holidays, but they would like to make it permanent if there were only viable career opportunities available. Well, there are jobs available. This is your chance to encourage your children to take a look at what's available right here in our region. The Workforce Centers and Chamber of Commerce have launched a